Gunshots began to ring out. The zombie's head jerked to and fro as the bullets hit him. Usually, shooting a zombie in the head releases the spirit trapped inside the body, but that was not true when the zombie was animated by a demon. Demons lived in another existence, a realm that required help for them to exit. It was called the Stygian Plane, a dark place full of demons and other monsters. This zombie did not go down, regardless of the fact that he was missing a lot of his head. The body was still up and moving around. He was still trying to initiate fear in the police that stood around him. If he could get enough power, he could heal the dead body and make it serviceable to him again. I had been in the mall when all of this started. I was shopping for a dress to wear to my sister and her husband's vow renewal ceremony, which was a ridiculous farce in my opinion, and I didn't want to attend, but our mom and dad would not be happy with me if I missed it. The older cops all stood their ground against the angry demonic zombie. A few of the younger cops' hands were starting to shake again, though. I considered calling my father to have him come down and help me keep everyone calm. He would have done it in a heartbeat, but afterwards he'd probably lecture me about practicing with my power more and how, if I had just tried, I could have done it without him. He was big on being proficient with magic and practicing often, which I didn't do. Police officers were usually steady as a rock and able to bite back their fear easily with me around. So I didn't call him. Instead, I walked back over to the officer whose hands were still shaking a little. I put my hand on his shoulder and leaned in to whisper to him. I reassured him that this was probably the worst magic he'd ever see, and that if he could control his fear today, in this very moment, he would have a long and successful career. His hand stopped shaking, and the witch began to do her thing. A spell left her lips, and I felt magic begin to gather. The zombie fell into a kneeling position, the demon's magic not strong enough to continue to keep the dead muscles taut. The magic got stronger, and I could see the wisps of it building in the witch's energy. When she let it go, it swirled around the zombie and entered it, trying to separate the body from the spirit that inhabited it. There was a struggle that I doubted most cops could see, her magic flaring here and there as it clashed with the demons. The zombie then stood back up, and the energy around the demon swelled to 3 times what it had been. Shit! I suddenly realized that she had never gone up against a demon, and she had just lost, probably due to her fear and a mistake I hadn't realized she had made. "Get the demon's name!" I shouted to her. The brand on my arm was brightly lit, shining bright enough that it could be seen even through the sleeve of the shirt I had on. I had somehow missed that she hadn't gotten his name, probably because I had spent 30 minutes trying to get everyone calm enough that the demon could be exorcised by a simple spell. Demons were maddeningly strong, so strong that sometimes even powerful witches couldn't exorcise them. It was worse if there was a source of fear nearby, because it was constantly refueling the magic. For every bit he expended, there was more to replace it when terrified beings were near. Instead of asking the demon for its name, she dropped to one knee and drew a piece of chalk from her pocket. A few heartbeats later, she had a circle drawn around her, a circle she imagined the demon couldn't cross because most magic couldn't. I stood for a moment, wondering if I should tell her that larger demons could brute force their way into a magic circle. I decided against it because it was unlikely she would ever encounter a large demon that would pummel her magic circle. She faced the demon and demanded his name, her voice small and squeaky. That's when I realized that she was far too afraid to perform the magic needed to exorcise this demon. However, we needed more exorcists in the world, and I didn't want to undermine her confidence. I debated with myself how long it would take her to compose herself enough to do the deed, and I was willing to stand there and wait. I didn't have much patience, not really, and dealing with demons made me cranky in general. I didn't tell people that the brand hurt when it was emitting light, but it burned like hellfire, probably because that's what had made it. The Archangel Uriel had given it to me after I passed his course in exorcising the demonic. It marked me as a certified exorcist, and while I technically worked for the government, as one of only 20 certified